I can see through my TV screen one of my viewers, Peter, is nodding wisely. He's written great books on all this. Hi, Peter. I've mentioned the debate last night on the ABC between Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton. There was not one question there, James, about the cost of living crisis, but there was a question about the new religion of the wealthy left, global warming, and that was followed by more mockery of Peter Dutton on Charlie Pickering's show on the ABC. Like it's told in the way, oh, of course, we all here on the ABC don't like Dutton. Have a look.
Oh, hello, I'm Peter Dutton, yeah. I want to fix the housing crisis.
He's just firing out figures and no one knows what the hell he's talking about. It's all in his imagination, and he can get overly personal with staff.
In contrast, it was only affectionate ribbing of Anthony Albanese. How does the ABC get away with this it's now shameless bias?
Yeah, well, Andrew, the ABC was established, I think, in 1932, and people needed access to media. Of course, 95 years have gone by. It's a very different world. Everybody's got news on their phone instantly, which begs the question, what is the purpose of the ABC? The ABC really don't have a purpose anymore, so they do what they please, and they can because they don't have customers that they need to satisfy. They don't have shareholders they need to reward. And so they can do as they please. In 2018, the Federal Liberal Council initiated a policy where they said the ABC should be defunded, but no coalition government has ever had the courage to follow up on it. So my complaint about Conservatives is they love to whinge about the ABC, but when they get into government, they never do anything about it. So whinge all you want. If you want to change the ABC, then win government and have the courage to defund it, privatise it, make it a subscription service. It's pretty clear what to do. Someone's just got to have the courage to actually do it.
Absolutely spot on. There was another thing today, there's a cult also of identity politics as well, Evelyn. Anthony Albanese, Assistant Minister for Women, preaching anti-Dutton hate today. Have a look.
When I put my hat on as Assistant Minister for Women, is that Peter Dutton and the Liberals do not understand the lives of particularly modern Australian families and modern Australian working women.
God, their hate campaign against Dutton is just extreme. But an obvious question, Evelyn, rarely answered, why do we have a Minister for Women and not a Minister for Men when you've got so many female ministers and when men die younger?
Look, we don't have a Minister for Men for one obvious reason. It's not advantageous politically. You know, once women secured the right to vote, politicians had to invent a whole world of injustices against women so that they had a purpose. And of course, Andrew, they presented themselves as the remedy for these injustices. You know, us poor defenseless women, like we couldn't survive without these good-willed politicians that were going to save us from all of our oppression. We hear this every single election time. If you vote for the other guy, you know what, women, you're going to lose all those hard-earned rights that you fought decades for. It's hard to believe that this sort of stuff is genuine when it's a privilege that's only afforded to half of the population, especially like you mentioned, Andrew, that the other half of the population is more likely to be homeless, more likely to commit suicide, murdered, suffer more social isolation, substance abuse, overdose deaths, incarceration, unreported mental health conditions, and more likely to be falsely accused of a crime. But you know what? We're not allowed to talk about that because, my goodness, the oppression of women in this country is just out of control. But you know what? I think that we've all understood for a very long time, those of us with common sense, is that women these days who say these sorts of things, particularly in political circles, they're not looking for equality. They've had that for years. They're now looking for special privilege. And it's time we start calling it exactly for what it is. It's inequality.
Well, or they're looking for a job like, I don't know, Assistant Minister for Women. That's a good job. James Macpherson, Evelyn Ray, thank you very much to you both and have a great Easter.